and welcome back to my channel. On today's biology segment, we're going to talk about nutrition and energy flow. If I ask you, where do you get all the energy you need for your daily activities, you probably answer something very simple like, by eating. And yes, food is a source of energy, but the major source of energy is the sun. Plants use the sun's energy to manufacture food in a process called photosynthesis. Organisms that use light energy to produce energy-rich components are called autotrophs. The most common autotrophs are plants such as trees or grass, but there are other unicellular organisms like green algae that produce their own components. Now, the organisms that depend on autotrophs for energy are called consumers. An organism that cannot make its own food and feed on other organisms is called heterotrophs. Heterotrophs display a variety of feeding relationships. For example, a heterotroph that feeds on autotrophs or just plants is called a herbivore. A heterotroph that feeds on other heterotrophs are called carnivores. A good example of this would be lions. We also have another category called scavengers. This type of organisms, they don't kill to feed themselves. They feed on animals that are already dead. Now, what happened with humans? We consume both plant and animal material, so we are classified as omnivores. When you eat an apple, you eat matter. Matter in the form of carbon, nitrogen, or other elements flows through the levels of an ecosystem, from producers to consumer. By doing so, the matter is cycled. In other words, or what I mean, is that the energy is transferred from level to level. A food change is a simple model that scientists use to show how matter and energy move through an ecosystem. In a food change, nutrients and energy move from autotrophs to heterotrophs and eventually to decomposers. A food change is drawn using arrows to indicate the direction in which energy is transferred from one organism to the next. Most food change consists of 2, 3, or 4 transfers. The amount of energy remaining in the final transfer is only a portion of what was available at the first transfer. A portion of the energy is given off as heat at each transfer. One of the easiest food change that you can see in science books is this one. You have the grass that is consumed by the mouse, and the mouse is consumed by the hawk. Now, this food change doesn't represent the organisms that feed on different organisms. So, ecologists were very interested in understanding the energy flow in an ecosystem. After several experiments, they create something more complex than a food change. They call their creation a food web. A food web is a more realistic way of representing the relationship of an organism that fits not only in one organism, in different organisms in one ecosystem. Ecologists use food change and food webs to represent or model how does matter and energy flows through an ecosystem. But they also use another type of model. They call it an ecological pyramid. And as the word says, it's a pyramid. Now this one represents on each level how does the energy flows through an ecosystem. One advantage of an ecological pyramid is that it visually describes quantities. Now, the levels that they are called trophic levels. On the bottom level, we have the autotrophs or consumers. The next level is called primary consumers. The next level will be called secondary consumers. And the other level will be called tertiary consumers. And so on until you reach the level that your ecosystem has. There are three types of ecological pyramids. The first one is the pyramid of energy. It illustrates the amount of energy that is available in an ecosystem, and usually it decreases when it goes from the bottom to the top. So we can say that at the bottom trophic level, we have the most amount of energy, and at the top, the last level, we have the least amount of energy. Only 10% of energy is transferred from level to level. The other 90% is used by the organism to carry out its processes. A pyramid of numbers shows the population size. The more organisms you have, the wider the bar you have to make to represent this trophic level. A pyramid of biomass shows the total amount of weight of living matter in an ecosystem. I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, bye!